Chapter 3: Sign in Tracking. The term sign, as used in visual tracking, can be defined as any evidence of change from the natural state that is inflicted upon any one geographical environment by the passage of the quarry, whether it be man, animal, or machinery. All sign is rigidly divided into two categories. Top sign. This is above the ankle. Ground sign. Anything below the ankle. Top sign. This is found in vegetation above the ankle. The zone extends to the height of width of the quarry. As the quarry passes through the undergrowth, it brushes past and causes unnatural disturbances to the growing vegetation. In the case of birds, this zone can extend to the height limit of the vegetation, while the downdraft of aircraft, especially helicopters, can create an enormous amount of top sign. Some examples of top sign: changes in the color of vegetation, unnatural position of vegetation, broken fences, gates, and turnstiles, disturbance to animals and birds' nests, cutting of vegetation, disarranged cobwebs, chewed bark and roots, handholds on trees, animal and bird roosting sites, quite often marked by droppings, bruised moss on trees, dew swept from vegetation, disturbance to the animal kingdom, broken twigs, branches, and leaves, man-made objects hanging on trees, scratches on trees, animal droppings, fur, feathers, and skeletons, shadow and shine irregularities on vegetation, birds and animals being put to flight, animal runs, making tunnels through the vegetation, or marks up trees. Ground sign. This is the sign left mainly by the quarry's feet. This occurs where vegetation from the ground surface has been disturbed by the quarry passing through and over the area. Some examples of ground sign are foot and scuff marks, animal droppings, latrines, scrapes, and scent marking areas, animal fur, feathers, skin, and skeletons, animal homes, rabbit burrows, fox dens, and badger tunnels, animal wallowing, rolling sites, bird nests floating on water, bird dusting sites, footprints, shoes, hoof, claw, and pad, bruised or bleeding roots, disturbance to the insect life on the ground, disturbance or color change to the ground vegetation, mud, sand, and soil deposited by the quarry. See transfer below. Disturbed leaves, stones, sticks, worm casts, molehills, and pockmarks. Debris dropped beside the track, cigarette ends, candy wrappers, and soft drink cans. Debris blowing along the top of snow or sand that leaves marks. Disturbed water. Dew swept from vegetation. Flattening and color changes in the rest of the quarry. Feather tip markings where a bird has taken off or landed, best seen in snow or mud. Bruised, squashed, bent, and broken roots, berries, droppings, leaves, or twigs. Characteristics of sign. Sign may be identified by one or a combination of the following characteristics. Regularity. This is an effect caused by straight lines, arches, or other geometrical shapes being pressed into the ground, leaving marks not normally found in nature, e.g. boot marks, vehicle, tire marks. Flattening. This is the general leveling or depression caused by pressure on an area compared to the immediate surroundings, e.g. the quarry's resting or sleeping area in grass, sand, or snow. Transfer. This is the deposit carried forward over an area after the quarry has moved from one environment to another, e.g. sand, mud, soil, or water not in its original position. See Figure 6 for some illustrations of the transfer of sign. A couple of everyday examples of transfer are the drops of water left on the bathroom floor when someone steps out of the bath. Not the footprint, but the drops that fall from the feet and the droplets that fall from your hands as you reach for the towel from the wash basin. Color change. This is the difference in color or texture of sign from the area that surrounds it, e.g. overturned droppings, stones, earth, twigs, or leaves will all give a color change to their immediate surrounding area when distributed. Disturbed. See Figure 7. Note that with continual use of the rat run, Figure 7-1, the rat has worn a path, in this case showing up lighter in color than the surrounding area. The area could be darker or lighter depending on the surrounding surfaces. The squirrel and the mouse, Figures 7-2 and 7-3 provide examples similar to the rats. Note that the leaf, figure 7-4, will be lighter in color on the underside compared with the weathered upper side. Discardables. This is anything that is left behind by the quarry, e.g. fur, feathers, droppings, cigarette ends, candy wrappers, tin cans, and the remains of food. Disturbances. This is any other change to or arrangement of the natural state of an area caused by the passage of the quarry, e.g. disturbance of the animal, bird, fish, and insect life, or to water. Classification of sign. For tracking purposes, we acknowledge 4 classes of sign: substantiating, conclusive, temporary, and permanent. Substantiating sign. These signs may or may not have been caused by the quarry. With experience and practice, a tracker can, with confidence, classify these as conclusive. However, 2 or more may have to be identified to convince a learner that he is still pursuing the same quarry. See Figure 8. Examples are broken twigs, bleeding and bruised roots, broken cobwebs, and disturbed water. Conclusive sign. This class of sign indicates without any more evidence to a tracker the passage of the quarry through the area. This sign has definitely been made by the quarry you are tracking. Examples are a characteristic footprint, identifiable droppings, or a discarded piece of equipment. Temporary sign. Some types of sign are termed temporary because they are particularly affected by weathering agents such as the wind, rain, snow, and the sun. See Chapter 4 for a full description. This is the unavoidable sign left during and after the quarry has passed through an environment, however careful he is. These signs will eventually settle down and return to normal after a lapse of time. Examples are broken cobwebs, movement of earth, leaves covering growing vegetation, and disturbances to the insect world. Permanent sign. Sign is classified by a tracker as permanent when it is of a lasting nature. There is no specific time frame, but rather a common sense approach is used to determine the correct classification. Permanent sign is very resistant to weathering, although even the hardest granite will eventually be eroded by rainwater, and man-made objects such as tin cans, newspapers, and clothing will eventually weather or rot away. Examples are badger tunnels, fox earths, rabbit burrows, bird and animal nests, broken or cut vegetation, dead animals, broken fences, and gates, and discarded man-made objects. Now that we have an understanding of the various categories and classifications of sign, let's move on to a practical illustration of how a tracker reads sign. For this example, let us look at the process of studying the sign left after a human has passed through a leaf-covered area. The first sign that is located is usually the ground sign. The tracker has to decide whether it is human or animal. Once this is established, the appropriate height and size of the quarry can be determined by the extent of the top sign. Remember, top sign is any sign above ankle height. Initially, the first sign must be studied carefully, that is, the first footprint. This must be measured and recorded as a sketch. See Figure 9 for the details that should be noted. The approximate weight of the person may be found by comparing the depth of the sign left with that of your own imprint or the footprint of a known person with the same size foot. The experienced tracker will not jump to any conclusions at this stage about the weight of the person until he has seen other sign giving an indication whether the quarry was carrying a load or not. The length of pace may indicate whether the person is tall, short, or carrying a pack. Top sign will normally verify this sort of information. Study the top layers of leaves, sorting out those that are bent or broken because they have been trodden on, remembering that some will be displaced. Mentally replace all or as many as possible of those displaced leaves and twigs. Pick up and examine each leaf in turn for what is called a straight edge. Remember where each leaf was taken from, see Figure 10. After removing and checking the top layer, continue down to the next layer. If the conditions are wet, this will be fairly pliable. Notice any distinctive bends that may indicate an edge of a boot. Remove the next layer and study the earth itself. Look for squashed worm casts or indentations from twigs and nuts. Establish the heel and toe of whether it is the left or right foot and, in the case of animals, whether it is the fore or hind. Whatever the nature of the ground may be, always look up from the ground sign at frequent intervals. Where there are bushes and undergrowth, bits of hair and fur or shreds of clothing may be spotted. These will give a clue to the direction of the track and to the quarry's height and bulk. A good understanding of sign and how to identify it is the vital skill that allows the tracker to build up the tracking picture. During the initial learning stages, it is the most important part of visual tracking. With experience and practice, locating and identifying sign will become much easier, and what was once a closed book will open and the track will come to life. Summary. Characteristics of sign. Regularity. This is an effect caused by straight lines, arches, or other geometrical shapes being pressed into the ground, leaving marks not normally found in nature. Flattening. This is the general leveling or depression caused by pressure on an area compared to the immediate surroundings. Transfer. This is the deposit carried forward over an area after the quarry has moved from one environment to another. Color change. This is the difference in color or texture of sign from the area that surrounds it. Discardables. This is anything that is left behind by the quarry. Disturbances. This is any other change to or rearrangement of the natural state of an area caused by the passage of the quarry. Classification of sign. Substantiating sign. These signs may or may not have been caused by the quarry. Conclusive sign. This sign has definitely been made by the quarry you are tracking. Temporary sign. Some types of sign are termed temporary because they are particularly affected by weathering agents. Permanent sign. Permanent sign is very resistant to weathering.